Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jessie, and welcome back to another episode of Rewire to Inspire. This show where we'll dive into self-love, learn tangible ways to rewire the brain, and discovering your soul's purpose. The goal of Rewire to Inspire is to encourage listeners to begin doing the hard work, to get curious and open to maximizing your life. Our mindset shapes how we live. Depending on life events, traumas, and personal experiences, our mindsets are all vastly different. However, one thing we all have in common is the ability to rewire our mind, to change the narrative, and to pivot our lives. I hope you leave each episode with the belief that you are so worthy to live a life true to you. I look forward to chatting with you every single Tuesday and Thursday and helping you grow exponentially in all areas of your life. Without further ado, here's today's episode. Hello, you guys, and welcome back to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am super excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 146. If you missed episode 145, it was a heavy one. It was a deep one, but I also think a very, very, very important one. And so it is all about validating and knowing that you are not alone in your experiences, in your pain, in your past. And so if you are needing just a little bit of validation, a little bit of reassurance that the world can become a brighter, healthier place should we choose to shed light on our experiences and emotions, definitely encourage you to check out that episode. For today's episode, number 146, we are going to be talking about 10 healthy ways to manage your stress. I don't know about y'all, but I have been feeling stressy Jessie lately. Very stressed. Very stressed. Here's the thing. I did not realize that I was feeling stressed for months. And so it accumulated, it built up, then my body started to respond. I still didn't notice, and then I crashed. If you even ask yourself right now, how stressed out am I holistically? I'd be so curious to know what your answer is. I think the thing about stress is we think it's just a situational thing. Oh, something was stressful. But here's the thing. Stress is a never-ending feeling that we feel all the time, but it's the severity in which we feel it and how we deal with it, cope with it, manage it, that makes the difference. Stress is something that I think we talk about very, very loosely, and we don't really realize the significance. Sorry, my squeaky chair. We don't really realize how much it's actually impacting our life. And stress is probably impacting your life more than you realize. And I was listening to a podcast last night. I believe it was on Mel Robbins' podcast. And just about the severity of how much the pandemic has skyrocketed, how much stress we carry and how we deal with it, and the severity in which it has increased, which is already exponentially too high. I started doing some digging this morning of some statistics around stress. And you guys, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. So I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this because I always ask myself, what am I dealing with? What am I experiencing that I want to be transparent about and I want to share? And secondly, what are we dealing with globally that is not being talked about a lot or enough? That is stress. Stress is the byproduct of so many things in life. And if you do not have proper ways to tend to your stress and to manage it appropriately, I'm just going to shoot this out. It will kill you. Stress will kill you over time. Here's some statistics that I gathered this morning that made me sick to my stomach. Ready? 33% of people report feeling extreme stress. I know for a fact that this is so unreported. 33% of people report feeling extreme stress. If I were to guesstimate, I would say it's actually closer to 70 to 80%. Again, here's the thing about statistics. It's only what is self-reported. This is what is reported. And so I don't know about you. I was not asked if I was experiencing extreme stress. I was not asked. So therefore, I'm not a part of that statistic. You probably aren't either. And you're probably dealing with extreme stress too, which is probably why you're listening to this episode. But even just based off of that, a third of our population deals with extreme stress. Okay, interesting. Keep going. 77% of people experience stress that affects their physical health. Makes sense. Let's keep going. 73% of people have stress that impacts their mental health. That number is such bullshit because if you're experiencing stress, it is 100% affecting your mental health, whether you're self-assigning that to yourself or not. So that's why these statistics are kind of like a little wonky, like whatever, take them with a grain of salt. But I do think it's important to shed light on it. 48% of people have trouble sleeping because of their stress. And then here's one that blew my mind. 90% of illness and diseases are stress related or perpetuated because of stress. Whoa, that one's kind of scary. I further read into this report that I was reading, and it basically said stress can interfere with your physical functioning of your body and how your body processes things. Examples that they gave: high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and heart disease have all been linked to stress factors. Other stress-related items included ulcers, allergies, asthma, and migraines. Most health professionals agree that stress can be a contributing factor in making existing medical problems worse. Cool. So let's just sit with that for a minute. How does it feel to know that if we don't deal with our stress and our emotions, those statistics are going to continue to rise? I read something when I was studying social work. Oh my God, I can't remember the exact details. Oh God, that's going to bother me. I can't remember. Anyways, it was basically along the lines of the difference between stresses. It was in a Gabor Mate book. I cannot remember which one. And he was talking about how health conditions we see now, in the skyrocket of health conditions we see now versus even 100 years ago, they don't even compare. They don't compare. And he said it comes down to two things: trauma and stress. And here's the thing: we often experience heightened stress when we don't heal our trauma, or when we don't have skills and coping strategies to deal with day-to-day stressors. So I'm like, okay, let's talk about how to manage this. Because as I was just saying, over the last couple months, I have taken on a lot of new clients, one-on-one clients, a lot of social media clients. My podcast is obviously here. My 9-to-5 job is here. Trying to balance just life in general. And I was like, I got this. I'm a hard worker. I'll figure it out. This is nothing. No, because I was not taking intentional time to tend to myself, to come back to my body, to heal, to be grounded. And then my body started to show me little signs. I was having digestive issues again. I was having migraines again. My eye was twitching so bad that I couldn't concentrate. And I'm like, oh no, I'm just dehydrated. Oh, I've just had too much caffeine. How many of us experience things in our body and then we try to justify it with an excuse? We're like, oh no, it's just blah, blah, blah. Oh no, I just had a hard day. Oh no, I just haven't eaten. We're so good at like minimizing what our body's trying to tell us, when the thing is, you guys, is our body doesn't lie. When it's telling us a symptom, it's telling us a symptom for a reason. It's trying to communicate something to us. But when we don't listen, it gets louder and louder until we don't have a choice but to listen. I see this all the time, especially in like my grandparents' generation, where they are so reactive to things instead of proactive. And I think that that's kind of been passed down to us, but I'm like, imagine if our society became a little more reactive to our health instead of proactive, how much healthier we can be. And I can't help but think that, yes, so much of this, my work phone is somewhere and it's bedanging and it's Saturday, so it needs to chill. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. Imagine if we just became a little more reactive of knowing that, yes, fitness and health and nourishing our body is a huge component. but so much of it is on an emotional level and how we tend to things from an emotional level. So I wanted to highlight 10 different ways that you can begin to manage your stress to hopefully set yourself up for a calmer, more fulfilling life. So the first way is to validate yourself, validate that stress does exist, validate and check in. So checking in with yourself every single day. I used to journal every single day. I fell off the wagon a little bit. Now I'm back on, all is good. And every single day I would write down how I'm feeling, symptoms I'm feeling, 0 to 10 how I'm feeling, checking in with myself. That is a huge way to get ahead of how stress is impacting you. Because if you can validate for yourself every single day how you're feeling, you can be a little more reactive. I think I've said that wrong every single time. Proactive, not reactive. I think in the last couple sentences I miscued that. So hopefully you're picking up what I'm laying down because I'm not effectively communicating right now. If we can begin to be more proactive in noticing how we're feeling and doing something about it, think how much less the severity of that can impact our life. And so that is the first thing, you guys, is to just simply validate that we're going to experience stress, but how long, over what period of time are we dealing with that? Are we suppressing that? Are we just powering through versus acknowledging and doing something about it? Number 2, my favorite, grounding and breathing. I know exactly what it's like to not know where to turn, to feel alone, helpless, and stuck. My goal as a coach is to help clients from a trauma-informed perspective see your worth and develop self-belief so you may chase your dreams and trust your intuition to live the most aligned, fulfilling life possible. If you're looking to elevate your life to the next level but aren't sure where to start, I would absolutely love to connect. If you're feeling pulled or curious, please use the link in the show notes below to book your free call. I look forward to connecting and supporting you on your own unique journey. When we are in a sympathetic state, so basically that is when we are in our fight, flight, freeze response, we do shallow breathing. When we shallow breathe, we trigger our stress response, which is going to mean we're going to have cortisol pumping everywhere. We're in overdrive. We're overworking our system. Our heart rate is up. Our breathing, like I said, is shallow. Our muscles start to tense. Our body is not working as optimal as possible. Our memory starts to become foggy. That was one of the big things I noticed when I was super stressed, is I couldn't put a sentence together. There was a couple episodes I did 2 weeks ago and I'm just like, words. Because I was so subconsciously stressed that my brain was like, girl, we're going to put this energy somewhere else. Your brain's being turned off right now. But if we can ground ourselves and notice our breathing, even right now, you might be shallow breathing. Notice. We do it subconsciously. And we can go days, weeks, months, years living in this shallow breathing state without realizing how much that is activating our overdrive state. I truly believe so much of healing can happen in our breath work. That is why I love yoga so much, because it forces me to be mindful of my breathing, inhaling and then exhaling intentionally and allowing my body to follow suit. Grounding yourself, meaning you're intentionally coming back to your body. Imagine what that could be like for you every single day, to ground yourself and to come back to your beautiful, beautiful being. Also, if you're watching video, I just wanted to say, clearly I got so dolled up to come on here today. So if you notice me rummaging with my hair this whole time, that's what's going on. Grounding myself, fidgeting, that's what that is. So that is number 2. Number 3, move your body, flow your body, exercise. You guys, one of the best ways that we can de-stress ourselves is by getting our heart rate up, getting into that zone 2 level of heart rate. So that's kind of between it depends on your age in different circumstances. I encourage you to do some research on your different zones of heartbeat. But if you can get into that zone 2, which basically is like that cardio zone, that is when you're going to start to feel the difference. That is when your body is going to start to relax. Your mind is also not focused so much on stressful thoughts and situations when you're focused on working out and moving your body. So that is number 3. Number 4, this one's easier said than done. Try to get out of stressful situations. If your work is just causing you to be a stressful mess and you have no fulfillment from it, I encourage you to do everything you can to get out of it. I know this one might take time, might take preparation, it might take, some support, but I'm here to tell you, as somebody who is burnt out from many different jobs, no amount of money is worth your mental well-being. I know that that's hard, and I know it can be really, really hard to take that leap and to leave. But if your job is doing nothing but stressing you out and you are coming home every single day depleted, not yourself, burnt out, overwhelmed, get out of it. No ounce of it is worth losing yourself, losing your health over any paycheck. Number 5, of course, journal, reflect, get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Using a pen or using your phone is fantastic, but using pen to paper is so much different. That mechanical connection between your hand and your head of physically writing something is so much more beneficial than writing things in your phone. But I encourage you as best as possible every single day to journal, to write down your thoughts, to escape, to release, and to reflect. Number 6, create a safe place to talk. Creating and having even one person to talk to could be the biggest difference between a healthy version of you and an unhealthy version of you, between a stressful version of you and a non-stressful version of you. When we're able to get things off of our chest and just release, our nervous system has a chance to just feel validated and to express. When we suppress and suppress and suppress and hold it all within, that energy has nowhere to go. And so it's going to get stored in our body. It's going to affect our body. And so please do not lessen the impact that having a safe person in your life has on your well-being. Number 7, know that you don't have to be strong all the time. I'm sorry if no one's told you this, but you don't have to be okay all the time. You don't have to have it figured out all the time. If in your family, friends, works, whatever's eyes, you are just this perfect being that has no flaws and never struggles, newsflash, that's a pile of bullshit. We all deal with things. This is one especially for men. You don't have to be okay all the time. In fact, it's really not that attractive when you pretend like you're okay all the time. Vulnerability, from my perspective, is one of the sexiest things in the world. If you are able to be open and transparent and to share and to express, oh my God, you are such a lighter human being and looked up to in so many more ways than when you're like, oh no, I got it all figured out, I'm fine. No, you don't. And you don't have to. How many of us just do this? We're like, oh, I'm fine. I used to be like that too, and guess who it was serving? Absolutely nobody. It wasn't allowing me permission to feel my stuff, and it wasn't allowing other people to feel safe and the permission to feel their stuff. If we all leaned into vulnerability a little bit more and showed compassion and showed transparency, what a world we could live in. So stop pretending like you're okay all the time. My love, you don't have to be. It's okay. You're human. You're supposed to ride the wave and feel all the emotions, not just one. And so I'm sorry if nobody's ever given you that or given you the permission to feel that. Number 8, look after your beautiful body. Nourish yourself, move your body, tend to yourself, drink water. That is it. That is such a phenomenal way that you can begin to manage your stress, because if we just cope by giving ourselves those pleasure-centered things, by eating junk food, by numbing out, by dissociating, it's not going to help. In fact, it's going to start to become worse and worse and louder. So look after your beautiful body. Find a way every single day to nourish and tend to yourself. Number 9, heal past trauma. Wow, so much easier said than done. But here's the thing. If we've suppressed our trauma and our experiences and we've never tended to them or healed them, they are going to surface on a day-to-day basis. They are going to continue to come out in different ways. And so until you're able to organize, process, and heal your past properly, it will likely come out on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, without you even realizing it. So as much as you can begin to do the work to start to heal your past, the less stress. The stress that you're feeling could just be anxiety about things you've experienced before that you're not validating. Your depression could be about an experience that has happened years ago that you're not shedding light on. If we all healed our past just a little bit more, I guarantee you we'd all be a little less responsive and stressed out all the time. And last but not least, I've kind of already mentioned this one, but try your best not to numb out. When you're feeling discomfort, when you're feeling stress, when you're feeling overwhelmed, I encourage you to feel it. Again, our body doesn't lie. It communicates with us for a reason. It is trying to tell you something. When you continue to suppress that and ignore that and not tend to it, it gets louder, it gets worse, it gets more significant. And that is when I truly believe we start to see all these health conditions, because it's unprocessed, stored stress and trauma in our body that had nowhere to go. And so when our body is constantly in that overdrive, it has nothing other to do than to start to shut down certain systems so that it can pour energy into other areas and parts of your body. So those are 10 different ways that you can begin to manage your stress. I flew through those because I know that 10 is a lot of different ways. I encourage you to pick the one that sounds the most relevant to you. I want you to know that you are not alone in experiencing your stress. You are not alone in how that makes you feel. You are a human. We are designed to feel stress. And in some ways, stress is good because it can amplify us to get things done. It can give us necessity to push us. There's good stress and bad stress. If we are constantly under a state of chronic stress, that is hurting your body, your system, your quality of life, and taking a hit on your future well-being. So it is very, very, very important that we tend to this, that we talk about this. This is something that I do truly believe is a mental health crisis that we're not talking about. And I think it's important that we take that proactive approach and begin as much as possible individualized to focus on our stress. So thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode of Rewire to Inspire. If you're looking to connect, I would love to connect with you. I am on Instagram at Jessie Brown 13, or you can use the link in the description below to book a free 30-minute call. I would love to chat with you, see how I can support you, see how I can work with you. Nonetheless, always happy to be here and to chat. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to chatting with you all next week. Bye, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's episode of Rewire to Inspire. I absolutely love connecting with you all, so make sure you're following me on Instagram. I am at Jessie Brown 13. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to leave a review or share with someone you think would enjoy. I look forward to chatting with you all next episode. And remember, get out of your head and into your heart.